My name is Danis Goulet. I'm a Canadian features programmer here at TIFF, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the world premiere of Akash Sherman's CLARA. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat, and on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of New Credit, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work and live in this community. I would also like to say that the film is eligible for the Canada Goose Award for Best Canadian Feature Film and the Gross People's Choice Award, and you can vote online at tiff.net/vote. We would like to thank D Films Corporation, Cinetic Media, and Distant Horizon for providing us with the film. And we are really pleased to have this film. It is a remarkably assured first feature from Akash Sherman that explores the wonder of humanity's greatest ambitions to reach for exciting discoveries. But it's also about the importance of connection, and it was definitely the most emotive film of this genre that we saw this year. And it is really grounded by remarkable performances from the two leads, so we're really excited to share it with you. I think the film asks us to look beyond our blind spot, and that the only way we're able to open ourselves up, and when we do that, the universe will open up to us. So it is my great pleasure to welcome Akash Sherman, the director of CLARA.
Hello there. Before I start to talk about this film, I want to invite some very special people. First, our producer, Ariel Lantos. And then Kristen Hager. And Ennis Esmer. And the lead of our film, Patrick J. Adams. I want to give a shout out to a lot of the crew that are in the audience today. Thank you very much. And we also want to give a shout out to Troy and Belisario, who could not make it tonight, but she sends her love. So there are a couple reasons I made this film. Actually, there are many reasons, but I'm going to give you a couple. The first is space, that thing above us that has no borders, that we can all look up together and in wonder. And it's always mystified me, and I wanted to take a crack at writing something that kind of explores it and talks about how NASA and scientists in the real world are looking at it and how close we are to discovering something. The second reason, and this is the more important reason, are human beings. This film is about the bond between us, the bond between loved ones and families and friends. And I was fortunate enough to share that bond with many people who helped on this film and put lots of love and work into this film. And again, these are people right here and in the audience, and has truly changed my life. And there's a group of people in particular that I want to give a shout out to who have changed my life, and that is my family. They are here tonight. And while I was writing this film, my family's universe was turned upside down. We suffered a loss of someone central in our family, and it really informed the way I wrote this story. And I made this film in memory of my grandfather, who is a very sweet man, and he's so missed. And there's someone here in particular I want you to know that I made this film for you, and that is my mother. Mom, Mom, I know you are hurting, and I really hope that this story can help heal your universe. And I hope that this film can help remind us that even in the vast darkness that is space, there are spots where some of the brightest light shines. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the film.
It is my pleasure to welcome back Akash Sherman, director of CLARA.
And our actors, and Ari, why don't you come out with me? Here's Patrick, Kristen, and Ennis.
All right, we're going to get the Q&A started. Akash, we've got some cast here. I want to know what the process was of finding the actors and then working with them.
Well, after I finished the first draft of the script, I put together a short list for who I thought would be best for the lead, and Patrick was at the very top of it. And I had been a fan of Suits, and coincidentally, Ari was like, I actually know that guy. We went to high school together. I'll let you take that.
Yeah, it's true.
Did you?
Northern Secondary.
And then we got Patrick on board, and
Oh, no, me?
yeah.
And then I was on board. I received this script. I was doing a play. I was between seasons of Suits. I was doing a play that I was bad in and not happy about and not really sure what I was going to do with myself. And the script showed up, and it was very different than what we saw tonight, but the story was essentially the same. And the spirit, Akash's spirit, was definitely in there. And Ari told me all about this young kid, and I said, wait, how old he is? And he said, oh, he's 21. And I was like, okay, all right. But he said you should pay attention to his work and look at, he had made another shorter film, and he had cut some stuff together, and they sent the whole package over, and I hopped on the phone with Akash, and it was instant. I could sense his passion, as I'm sure you guys have sensed tonight from that incredibly moving speech he gave before we all started crying right before your movie. And then what you saw on screen, you can tell he's a man with a deep spirit and a deep sense of storytelling, and I knew that from our first conversation. And you never know what the product of these things is going to end up like, but I knew that the process was going to be something worth doing. And then later on, Troyan came on board. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to open it up for questions, and I'll repeat. Yep, go ahead.
Hey, Akash.
Hey, Sam. How's it going?
I remember hearing the story a couple of years ago when it was just in your head. It's so surreal to see it come to life. Congratulations, so proud of you.
Thank you.
My question has to do with Clara, the character. I find her so interesting, so much mystery behind her.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell us a bit more of the backstory of Clara? Anything more about the civilization she comes from?
So the question is about Clara. She's a very mysterious character. Can you tell us more about her backstory and maybe where she comes from?
Okay, well, my personal opinion is that I feel that Clara is very human, and she is an orphan who grew up alone, and she tried to find her place in this world, and still, but even before she met Isaac, hadn't felt like she had a place in this world, and what I think she was really searching for is a greater purpose, and as you can see, she served a very, very cosmic purpose. Now, you touched on the idea of where she comes from. I think we're definitely open to interpretation of what she is, who she is. I like to think that she's being accessed by another civilization, that they are using someone who has traveled the world, absorbed our culture. They're seeing the world through her eyes, and yeah, she's a satellite.
Questions?
She's not real.
Yes.
For Akash, in writing the script, you've got tons of themes that you're dealing with, and tons of storylines as well. Was it always your intention to write this little bit of a love story, or did that come out organically from the sort of bigger idea of this search for intelligent life?
So I'll just repeat. So the comment was that there are lots of themes and storylines happening. Was it always the plan to have the romance kind of emerge, amongst these sort of bigger ideas?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely was a plan for a love story, but to be honest, I think as the drafts went on, we kind of toned it down, to be honest, to be more of what I feel is a friendship between two people. It's a very momentary connection, and Patrick and Troyan really helped bring that out in a very intimate way. Yeah, I wouldn't honestly. I don't like referring to the film as a romance. I think it is more of a love story.
Yeah, I'll just add that we've talked about this many times along the way, that it's not a romance film, but it's a connection film. It's a human connection film. So I've always seen it like that. And for the last couple of years, we've been writing, editing with that in mind. Not making it a romantic film, but just a film about humans connecting.
Great. Questions?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How many days did you shoot this film in?
19. And I'm really sorry to our actors
My turn,
for
my
that
turn.
packed schedule.
What age were you when you pitched me the idea for this movie?
19.
Prakash, I'm actually curious about some of the science that's referenced in the film and maybe some of the research that you did around the astronomy aspects of it.
Well, when I wrote this story, I definitely had done an initial part of research, but the story came first. So I got my story beats down first. Then we invited science advisors into the mix to check us, and we weren't that far off in certain areas. Certain areas I was way off, but we were really helpful. We were really glad to have the help of Dr. Doug Welch and Dr. Johnny Moores. Doug is here, I believe. Stand up or yell or someone.
Raise your hand wherever you're. There he is.
There he is, that guy. Yeah. So yeah, we were able to have real scientists work on this project, and so I mean that one thing I want to do with every script I write is, and I tend to drift towards sci-fi, is write about a subject that I can learn about, I can have an education on, and I think we all learned a lot about astronomy making this film.
Forgot it all, though.
Question right in the front.
Hi there. So Kash, I was gonna ask. So the ending is Dr. Isaac Bruno hears like audio that's like communication. Did you have like other endings that you were considering?
Yeah.
So the question is, at the very ending, Dr. Bruno hears a song, and just did you have other ideas for that ending, alternate endings?
What's really interesting is that Troyan actually had this idea of that song coming through. My original ending, I honestly don't want to even tell you guys what it was, but yeah. But she thought it'd be so cool if we can find something that was, planted.
Was it on our honeymoon?
It was on their honeymoon when they came up with that.
We Skyped in and we were like, Akash, wait, listen. What if?
Yeah.
And we all kind of went silent. We were like, oh yeah,
That's the end of the movie. But then there was another ending in editing, and part of me will always wonder if that would have been the way to go. But it was such a happy accident. Our composer, we were just working on the last piece of score, and he had muted the Dylan track, and he went to the washroom, and the thing kept playing, and I was trying to stop it. I couldn't press his buttons, but the movie kept playing, and the Dylan song didn't play, and it was just. You just saw this guy react. You didn't actually know what he was hearing. And part of me thought that was like, wow, that would be a powerful ending. But Ari was scared that no one would get the ending. And so maybe that'll be an alternate ending on the DVD. Yeah.
So you mean you chose that song in a happy accident kind of way? It wasn't something you always intended?
From the when you played it, it was.
Yeah, in the script there was another instance where the song comes in, but once we decided on it being in the ending, we removed that and saved it for the end. Yeah.
And why that song?
I love Bob Dylan. I think Isaac would love Bob Dylan. And Girl from the North Country is about a girl that a guy wishes he had more time to get to know. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Questions? Okay, we're going to go back, whoever said back here.
Standing up. Standing up back there.
Congratulations, beautiful story, amazing film. While we got you on stage here, just want to see if I can pull out of you, where does the film land on the question, is there a God?
Where does the film land on the question, is there a God, Akash?
That is, that's a very small question.
And if you could, Akash, 5 words or less, please. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to hit you with an I don't know. And I think that is probably the best answer anyone can give, because it would be stupid of anyone to say that there is or there isn't. Because we don't know. We just don't. But I love science, and I think science is one of the best ways to find out what is. But I do have a lot of respect for faith, because it also shows what can be. And to me, faith is just, the fact that we exist in this universe is so serendipitous, and faith to me is just having love for that fact.
Break my heart. My grandmother.
Question?
My grandmother has.
Oh, why did you not have Dylan sing Gregorian chant to end it?
That's
Grandma's
a good question.
asking.
That's a good question. Your
That was another ending that you were.
yeah, and your grandson didn't convince me on that one. So yeah.
Sequel.
Yes, there's a question here. Why did you film it in Toronto? Sorry, I just can't.
Why Toronto?
Oh, why Toronto?
Because we're here.
And yeah. I didn't want to fake another city. Toronto is a great city, and all of our crew is from Toronto. Why would we hide it? So
I'll also just add that I've made a lot of films outside of Toronto, and it was a real pleasure making one here in downtown Toronto. You don't often get to do that on a small budget film like this. So it was really a treat to be there, to be here doing it, and if I could do it more often, I would. But yeah, that's why we're here, and everybody here is actually from Toronto, except for you, Red Lake, Ontario.
Edmonton, Alberta, actually, but yeah.
Yeah, you live in Toronto now.
Question? Yes, over here.
I'm going to give
Has
that the
making the film, sorry, I'll just interject. Has making the film, for you folks on the balcony especially, has making the film affected your belief in alternate worlds or what's out there?
Yes. No, I've always believed that there's others out there, and yes, films like this definitely make you think, and yeah, the answer for me is yes.
Oh, great. I'll say 2 things. There's a premise early on, and boy, oh boy, Isaac, you're such a pessimist in this movie. What a grump, really. Real grouch, real grouch. There's a part early on where he's talking about how, they're just stories that we tell each other. And I think I always, wow, we're really just jumping into really serious stuff here. I think I used to think that was a bad thing, and I'm starting to realize that those stories are actually helpful and beneficial, and there's nothing wrong with a good story. So I think that's actually a pretty good way to get through life, if you open yourself up to believing in stories about other planets and other life. And also a little bit, dare I suggest, it's a little cocky to think we're the only ones. I think on some level, yeah, get over yourselves. Of course there are. It's sort of where I come from. Sorry, I'm not calling all of you cocky, but just do a quick check-in with yourselves when you get home and think about where you stand on the list. I'll give you homework. I give you homework with an answer. Thank you. And there is no God. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, we're definitely not alone.
What he said.
Think we have time for. Yep.
Scientists really steal each other's telescope time?
Wow. I think everyone
I
heard
don't know.
that.
Doug.
Has it happened, Doug? Okay, there you go. There's your answer.
All right, we've got time for one final question over here. What was the budget?
What do you think? It was less than the cost of one episode of Suits. Let's put it that
There
way.
you go. All right, that is all the time we have. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you, Dennis.